So I finally got myself a new iPhone. But look, Generation 4, better than nothing I suppose. Greetings people of the internet. I am about to do another console game show-off. Like showing off some of the games I got. It's been quite a long time since I did one. Last time I did it for the GameCube. This time I'm going to do it for my PlayStation 2, which we all know is practically the greatest game system ever made. One of my favorites. But that's not to say I don't like the GameCube or any other system, but the PlayStation 2 tends to have more games that I like. So without further ado, allow me to show you what I got. Let's begin. Alright, God of War. Now this was, I remember seeing this game back when it first came out, and when I saw this I thought this was really gross and scary. But from what I heard, this is when I got my PS2, and after hearing about this game I really wanted to play it, and I have quite the story for this game. I traded in some of the GameCube games I really didn't like, and with some of the cash I got this, along with Bully and Devil May Cry 3. And for this game, I actually had to buy like three different used copies of this game, because each copy I got had problems here and there. First disc I got didn't even work. Second disc I got worked until it glitched out at the end, so I wasn't able to beat it. Like it was loading, and it would load. So we returned that, and then my third copy, which is this, works no problem. Works like a dream. So yay. And for how is the game? I'd say this is one of the best action-adventure games you could ever get for your PlayStation 2. Like, they say that the PS2 visuals is so sharp, you forgot you're playing on PS2. That's what game trailers said about it. But playing this game, I think that the Xbox and the GameCube could possibly pull this off, but seeing it's a PlayStation 2 exclusive, it just shows how amazing the PS2 can be. The gameplay is very bloody. You got those blades of chaos, and Kratos is awesome. He's one of my favorite gaming characters ever. And like I said, combat is a lot of fun. You get to swing your blades, kill things, slash at baddies, and minotaurs, gorgons, and many others. Like if you like Greek mythology, you can really get into this. And the game gives you a lot of bang for your buck. And like if you've seen those comments, like awarded 2005 Game of the Year from Play Magazine, GameZone, PSM, Soundvision, and IGN, and one of the most spectacular action titles to grace the PS2, Yahoo Games. And rated M, you can't really tell because, like, once again, this is an iPhone 4, but it says blood and gore, intense violence, nudity, strong language, and sexual themes. Now, I question why this had strong language on it, because I don't think Greek mythology they said the S word or the F word or anything like that. But if you watch the behind-the-scenes footage that's on this game, which I really like that they do because I love bonus material, they do cuss. But don't let that stop you from playing this if you don't like cuss words. But if you're okay with lots of blood and guts and some nudity here and there, this is the game to play. It is that good. If you can't get the PlayStation 2 version, get the HD version, but don't buy the HD 2-pack. Buy the HD God of War collection. That's way more worth it. And not much has changed. They just gave the game some HD gloss, but it still looks like the PlayStation 2 version, just in a higher resolution. But overall, an amazing game. Play it before you die. Alright. Now, let's look at the sequel, God of War 2. Now, this is well, overall, this is another amazing game. Visually, this is one of the best looking PlayStation 2 games, like the best, honestly, I've seen, in my humble opinion. Gameplay, by and large, is the same thing, with some little tweaks here and there, like when it comes to opening doors, you don't keep pressing the R2 button, which I personally liked better, but instead you press the circle button. And that's okay, and then when you open up chests, you hold the R1 instead of R2. I think that's how it is. I haven't played this in a while. But killing things is pretty much the same. You got a lot of bosses, and the storyline, in my opinion, is just not that interesting as the first one. People love the God of War games, like a lot of them, like some reviews I've seen, but God of War 2 just isn't that good. They say, like IGN says this game has a better story, it's a lot more interesting. I have to disagree. Like, it's really simple, and the only thing that saves this game is the gameplay and the visuals. Storyline's not bad, but not as good epic as the first one. Like, I think the only good story was the first one, and the rest was just But overall, still an amazing game, and a very worthy successor to God of War. So, awesome. Next game, Rise to Honor, starring one of my favorite action stars, Jet Li. I remember when I first saw this game, like, back in the day, I saw Kiss of the Dragon, even though that movie really scared me when I was younger, if you want to see why, watch it. But the fight scenes in it was what I loved, and Jet Li is awesome. Like, when I found out that he had his game, oh my god, I wanted this game. Like, they used to have a demo of it at Sam's Club when they had demos for PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and they had it, and I wanted to play this game non-stop. Like, I just wanted to go to Sam's Club just to play this game. Like, it was awesome. It was so easy to control. You get to be Jet Li and beat people up with the analog sticks, so you have 360 control. That was then. Nowadays, now that I play it, it's not a bad game. Like, the visuals are pretty good for a PS2 game. Like, Jet Li looks like Jet Li, and the character models look pretty nice. The voice acting is in English. When you're in China, it's not that great, but you have the option to hear Cantonese while you're in China. But when you're in America, you'll hear English, and it's not always top quality, but it's okay. It's passable. The gameplay can be fun, but it can get really frustrating, especially at the end. So, it's not a bad game, but meh. But if you love Jet Li, play it. That's all I gotta say. Final Fight Streetwise. Now, I know a lot of people really don't like this game, but I went off this review that I saw on this one guy, which I won't say his name because it's a bad word and I don't want to swear or anything. Yeah, he said it was a pretty fun game. It's not perfect, but it wasn't bad, and I have to agree. Visually, it's not a bad game, to be honest with you. Like, the character models look alright. The environments don't look that bad. And overall, the combat is fun. It's very innovative, and I like that. Like, you can pretty much do any combo you want, which I think is great. You got this big world. You got Metro City to explore. You got different objectives, kind of like an RPG. You get to buy moves, buy weapons. Not perfect. It is pretty frustrating at times, but overall, it's a satisfying game, in my opinion. And it includes the original Final Fight game with Guy, Hager, and Cody. And also they have like a newer arcade version, which the in-game visuals and mechanics. You got Cody, Guy, Hager, and Kyle. That's who you play as. You play as Cody's brother Kyle. I think I remember that's his name because I haven't played this game in a while. But not as bad as what people say. Not bad. Namco Classic Fighter Collection. Now, I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. I'm not that big into fighting games. I'm more of an action game fan. And I used to play the Mortal Kombat trilogy, but I couldn't get into that. Like Mortal Kombat Deception, I think that's what it's called. Because I got rid of it. And Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks and Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Those weren't bad games at all. It just didn't really do it for me. Like never have I played those games, and I didn't even know how to do a fatality. And I found the games to be really boring and not very fun. But this was an exception. Like, I bought this for about $15 at Walmart when it was there. Excuse me. And I have to say, I enjoy these games way more. Like, I know some people have left the Mortal Kombat fandom they left the Mortal Kombat games in favor of these games, and I can see why. Like Tekken Tag Tournament. This one I don't really play this as much because it's really complicated. But I can see why this is a fan favorite because you get to have like team battles, and the fighting itself is fun, and it's very smooth and easy to get a hold of. But still, this is more for like the hardcore fighter, so I didn't really get into it as much. But I have to say, like, when it comes to all Soul Calibur and Tekken games, like, you don't think they can make a fighting game look so beautiful, and these games are amazing looking. Just watch some of the cutscenes. Like, you wouldn't even think this is a PS2. But yeah, Tekken Tag Tournament, not bad, but not for me. Soul Calibur 2. Out of any fighting franchise, I really got into Soul Calibur. Like, I just found the controls and all that way more easy to get a hold of. Like, the characters, there's more than a few characters in Soul Calibur that I like to play. Like Keelake, Young-sung, Talon, Maxi. The reason why is because they're easy to control. Yeah, I'm not really a hardcore fighter, like I said. I'm more of a casual fighting fan, so I don't want to be like have a character that like you push one button and the character just does one attack. And when I try to do combinations, you have to do like these certain gestures on the control pad. I don't like that at all. I'm more of like a Super Smash Brothers. I like those games better, but Soul Calibur, I still like it. Like, I'm planning on getting Soul Calibur 2 and 3, but I think I'm going to stop after Soul Calibur 5 because I have it on the 360, but didn't really do it for me because I got rid of my favorite characters, and the characters they have in their place are just not as much fun. They're way too complicated for me. But Soul Calibur 2 is pretty good. As you can see, I got the PlayStation 2 version, which you get the exclusive character of Heihachi from Tekken. But since I already got like 2 games that has Heihachi in it, putting him in Soul Calibur, like that's alright, but he's still the same guy. I really wish I got like the GameCube version and the Xbox version, because if you got the GameCube version, you get to play as Link, and that would be sweet. And if you got the Xbox version, you get to play as Spawn from, Spawn the comic book series from Todd McFarlane. So I wouldn't mind owning those 2 versions, but this is still a pretty good game, and yeah, not bad. Now, Tekken 4. Now, this one, I remember really enjoying this one. Like, there's a lot of characters in here that are easy to control, and the fighting itself is furious and a lot more easier to get into, in my opinion. Like, again, it's kind of complicated. Like, some characters are hard to control, but other characters are pretty easy, like Jin Kasama, Steve Fox, Maddock, and also you get to play as a panda, which I think she belongs to Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu's not exactly easy to control, but yeah, the fighting in the game is satisfying. They got like that mini game in which you get to choose a character and go through these areas like a big beat 'em up. How you play as Hao Rang. I don't know how to say his name, but Hao Rang, and that because of his kick combo. But yeah, this is a pretty good fighter. Like if you like fighting games, I bet you'll really like Tekken 4. So yeah, Tekken 4, Tekken Tag Tournament, and Soul Calibur. All right, next set. Give me a moment. Get in there. Goody. Oh, one thing I almost forgot to mention. Like, in all 3 versions, the character of Necrid, who's also a Todd McFarlane character, appears in all 3 versions. So, yeah, just wanted to say that. Get that in there. Alright. Next up, Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening, the Special Edition. Now, I remember, like, when I looked into the PlayStation 2 system, I came across this game in reviews, and the game looked pretty amazing. Like a hack and slash, you play as Dante, and you get to go and slash at demons. I just had breakfast. Like demons, and Dante's virtually invincible, but not in the game. And the special edition, I hear, was a bit easier, and to get bonuses, like get to play as Virgil, Dante's brother. Overall, this is one of the best PlayStation 2 games you could get. It's really hard, but this is one of the games that I like it to be hard because the game gives you everything you need to survive, and all it is your skill. That's what it takes to beat this game. Like, I beat the game on easy, I beat the game on normal. Normal's a pain in the butt, and just so you know, the Japanese version, normal was hard, and here in America it's normal. And I'm trying to play it on hard, but at this point, Devil May Cry 3, as much as I like it, I don't see myself playing it as much, so I stopped at the 7th level. 7 or 10, 12. But I still really enjoy it. And if you don't already own it, you should get it. And also, I remember playing this back when I was in South Korea visiting my cousins, some family. They had this game, and I played it a little bit there. I was 10 years old, and the game kind of scared me, but I had fun with it, And also, they had it in Spanish, Korean, and English, which was nice. And whenever you push a button, I'm thinking it's kind of like that in the original version, but whenever you choose a selection, you hear a voice saying, "Devil May Cry." Kind of like that. But, yeah, pretty good game. I'm planning on buying the HD collection to get the first 2. Even though I heard the second game was a bit meh. Now, this is a game I bet a lot of you must know. Kingdom Hearts. Now, I have back when I was in high school, I had some friends I had a friend who was really into this game. And she, like, "I can't believe you don't have this game. You got PS2 and you don't have Kingdom Hearts? What's wrong with you?" Kind of like that. And now that I got it, I love Disney. I had so many fond memories with Disney. Like, I remember watching all the movies like Robin Hood, Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, and Winnie the Pooh. I remember recently seeing Princess and the Frog, which is one of my all-time favorites. Monsters Inc. and Monsters University. And TV shows like Mickey Mouse Works and House of Mouse. Tons of happy memories, and I love the old shorts. Just love Disney. So seeing that they had an RPG made for it, Kingdom Hearts, from the guys that did Final Fantasy, that's an awesome idea. And overall, I really like it. Like, I'm not a big fan of turn-based RPG games, but I bet I can get into it if I had it. Like, I got Final Fantasy 13, but I haven't played it much. But this is action RPG, like real-time RPG, and I like those. And not a whole lot to say, but you got all the Disney characters, one way or another in here. You get to play Sora, and you get to go on this big adventure with Goofy and Donald to go find King Mickey. It's a game to play it is a game to play if you're a Disney fan, or if you're an RPG fan that doesn't really care for Disney but you like RPGs. Give it a try. You might like it. But as it is, awesome game. Haven't played it much because the game has a really big lack of direction, which I absolutely hate. But overall, it's worth getting. It's definitely a classic. Next up, hold on. Let me swear it's the first one. That'll look better. Hold on, just one moment. Ah, yeah, here it is. Naruto Ultimate Ninja. Now, like I said, I'm not really a big fighting game fan, but I think anime games are the exception, and I'm a big fan of Naruto. Like, say what you will about Naruto, but I loved it. The fighting is pretty simple, but it's fast and fun, and the visuals look pretty darn nice if you're a fan of the manga, but I'm more into the anime. And I'm not really a huge anime freak, I just like anime like as much as I like a TV show, like regular show or Adventure Time, or something within those lines, but just how I treat anime. It's just like another show to me, nothing to go all crazy out for. But I'm not judging if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah, I like Naruto. The first game doesn't have a whole lot to offer compared to the sequels, but I love Naruto, so I haven't gotten rid of it. And yeah, not bad. But the sequels is when things start to get really good. Naruto Ultimate Ninja 2. Now, this is my favorite of the Ultimate Ninja games. Like, I played this game a lot. Like, when I did some trading with a now ex-best friend, I got this game. And one of my friend who has the exact same name, but I don't have a problem with him, says that, oh, dude, you're going to be in for some serious fun. And he wasn't joking. Like, I had a blast playing this game. You got all these mini games that are wacky and crazy. You got all the fighting with even more characters. And the controls feel way better than the first one. Overall, yeah, this is awesome. Loved it. I don't play it as much anymore, but still love it. Love it. Better than the first. Then there's Ultimate Ninja 3. The visuals are about the same, and there's some changes made. I haven't played it a whole lot because it didn't really hook me like the second game. But overall, it's not bad. Like, I like some of the changes they did to keep it fresh, and the fighting is still fast and furious. And yeah, not bad. Just haven't played it as much because I think at that point Naruto Ultimate Ninja about ran its peak with me, which is why I don't own the first one. But I mean the fourth one, I mean. But not bad. Glad I got it. Now, Beautiful Joe. Now, I remember back in the day when I saw this game at Kmart for the GameCube, and it was about $10, and it had a sticker that said Wii compatible. But I went with the PlayStation 2 version because of the inclusion of Dante from Devil May Cry, and I thought that was pretty awesome. And I found this game to be a lot of fun. I like the visual style, and it was a superhero game, and who doesn't, love superheroes, and the game is very wacky with a lot of characters, like this dude here, he's one of the boss characters, and he talks like a Bill Cosby, kind of like that. And also you got this other guy who's voiced by Mikey Kelly, who was the original voice for Ratchet and Clank. I don't know how to say it, but the voice really works. And the gameplay overall, it's a good platformer, side-scroller, beat-em up. And you get to have all these powers like VFX powers to slow down time and use different abilities. Overall, it's pretty good, and Beautiful Joe could easily be considered the best superhero game ever. I wouldn't say that. It's not quite the superhero game that people would be expecting, but it's pretty good. It's pretty challenging, too. Like, this game is very hard, but that's a good thing. Like, challenge makes you want to keep playing. So, yeah, Beautiful Joe. If you can find it, go for it. Classic for me. Urban Reign. I'm a big fan of beat-em-ups, and for this one, after seeing the footage in the review for it, it looked pretty interesting because it was made by the same people that made Tekken and Soul Calibur. Visually, it's a pretty nice looking game, and the fight and the movements, the animations, and the visuals are nice, and the combat is fun. Some of the characters are more fun to control than others, but overall there's a big wide range of fighting styles, and Martial Law and Paul Phoenix make an appearance in the game from Tekken. Overall, it's a good beat 'em up. If you like beat 'em ups, play it. But if you're not, and it's a good multiplayer game. But if you're not really into beat 'em ups and it gets pretty boring, you won't get into it. But it's just a fun game in short doses. So yeah, Urban Reign, go for it. If you're into that sort of thing, that is. Cold Winter. Now this game, I came across this game on game trailers and one of their older reviews, and they say that overall the visuals are good and the gameplay is fun, but overall it's nothing amazing. But I have to agree with that. Like, it is slower paced, and there is lots of blood and guts, so that's kind of fun with the pistols, the machine guns, the shotguns, and watching blood spray everywhere. And it's a spy game like James Bond, and that's kind of strange if you think about it with all the blood and gore. But overall, it's a fun shooter. If you can buy it cheaply, I say it's very much worth it. Yeah, pretty good. Now, this is a shooter I bet a lot of you may know about, Black. Now, this is it's as good as they say it is. Like, the visuals are big, visuals are extremely detailed. There's a lot of gunfire, explosions, and there's a lot of bad guys to kill, and it's an action fan's dream with tons of machine guns, shotguns, rifles, pistols. All guns blazing. Guns are the stars. Every bullet is your baby. Bigger guns, louder explosions. Leave a trail of destruction. Get creative with your kills. To the bad guys, yeah. If you can find this PS2 game, Xbox, go for it. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning. Now, I'm never played a truly good Spyro's game. Like, I played Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, which I didn't like at all. Then there's Spyro A Hero's Tale, which I found to be way better, but still it's not. Still, I got really frustrated with that. This game is a lot simpler with simple platforming, and also there's a lot of combat, which I think is, well, it's fun, but it's a bit repetitive because, like, after you kill a group of enemies, more and more come by, and the combat is just not that interesting, so combat becomes a chore. But the storyline isn't bad at all. Like, Elijah Wood, Gary Oldman, and David Spade are in this game. But even celebrities can't save this game, and that's probably why they're doing a reboot with the Skylanders game, which I personally like, but it's a bit too much money. But this game is okay. Just okay. We'll probably never see Spyro's former glory, but stay hopeful. Ratchet & Clank. Now, this is a PlayStation 2 classic. I don't play it much because I find it to be kind of frustrating, but with that said, I had fun with it. The storyline's not bad, the visuals are pretty good, and I'm a fan of these two, like Ratchet & Clank, of course. They got a lot of weapons, they got all these areas to explore. It's like playing a real-life, it's like a playable cartoon, which I really like. The game is challenging, but I'm guessing that's just how platformers are. So, yeah, Ratchet & Clank is pretty good. It's as good as they say it is, and I'm planning on buying the HD version, HD collection. So, yeah. Save me money. Jak and Daxter, another platforming series I only own one game of. Now, a lot of people love this game. Like, a lot of my friends love it. Don't really, haven't really played it much, but that's not to say I don't really like it. This is more of an action game with some platformer elements, in my opinion. And they say it's amazing, made by the guys that did Crash Bandicoot. It's absolute brilliance. Yeah, I have to agree with that. I've seen better, but with that said, Jak and Daxter is still awesome. I am planning on buying the HD collection to save me some money. Overall, good, awesome game. That's all I gotta say. Alright, I'll get to that in a moment. Ben 10, Protector of Earth. Now, I'm not that big of a Ben 10 fan. Even when I was younger, I wasn't really that big into it, but I played this game when I was at my uncle's house with his brother's son. And we didn't really have another Wii remote and nunchuck because we played this on the Wii, but we took turns. And overall, I had fun with it. It was just a simple beat-em-up, side-scrolling beat-em-up. You run in this three-dimensional area and you beat bad guys up with different alien forms. And even though this is a PlayStation 2 version, it's still a pretty good port of the Wii version. Controls are nice. The visuals are good, really good. Like, it makes you feel like you're in the show. And the combat, even if you're not into the show and you like good old-fashioned side-scrolling beat-em-ups, the combat's pretty fun. So yeah, Protector of Earth is fine. And now another series. This is the platforming series that I mostly followed, and it's one of my all-time favorites. Sly Cooper. I love Sly Cooper. Like, I remember seeing advertisement for Sly Cooper on TV when I was very young. Maybe wish I had a PS2 because it looks so cool. And I played the second game first, but this is the first one. They have two different designs. One is just like the raccoon mask here, and this is the one that has Sly on the cover. This is an awesome game if you like platformers. Like, it's short, yeah, it's a bit challenging. Like, you only got like 2 hits or 3 if you have like a a horseshoe, which I don't understand how that's possible, because in the second, how that even came to be, because in the second and third you got a health bar. But yeah, these comments are very true, and I like this game character of the year 2002. Awesome. Like, we have not seen a truly new platforming character that's as good as like Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, and Jak and Daxter. But this is still one of my favorite platformers, and it's definitely worth getting. And if you see the HD collection, buy it. Awesome. Now the second game. Now this game I played the most out of. This is the first Sly Cooper game I played. Like, the visuals are a bit better, and the voice acting is a lot more lively compared to the first one. And the game is a lot less about getting to point A to point B, and more about doing something, which I think is a little bit more enjoyable. And yeah, it's like a bigger, better game than the first one. Definitely good. And now there's the third game, which I have not beaten yet. This is a very mixed received game. Some people say this is the best, some people say this is the worst. For me, I don't know what to think of it. Like, I want to say this is the best game in the Sly Cooper series, but at the same time, it's a mixed feeling game. Like, you got all this, you got new characters to play as, you got all these big areas, and the gameplay is pretty much the same as the second, but there's more mini games in here, and Bentley is now in a wheelchair, which is not really a complaint because he has some cool abilities. But I don't know what to think of it. Like, it looks, plays, like, actually it has a bit of a frame rate issue, but it's not really a bad thing. And it has 3D. I think it's the game is like it's trying too much to be different, like trying too much to add new to it. So it's kind of like a mixed game, but overall, still pretty good. Like, if you can find it on its own, or if you can find the HD version, go for it. But it's mixed. Now, here's a game I bet all you guys know about. Tony Hawk's Underground. I love Tony Hawk games, and I'm not even a skater. And I prefer the Tony Hawk games on the Xbox, but this one's not bad. The PlayStation 2 version, I'm guessing it's because I'm so used to the Xbox controller that the PlayStation 2 controller just isn't for me. And I mainly got the PlayStation 2 version because I played it all the time on the Xbox, so I can see what the fuss is about on the PS2 because of the online play, which I don't do on my PS2. That little skinny thing over there next to my GameCube. Play nice, you two. And you have the option to create yourself in the game, but that option's no longer valid, I think. So I'm thinking I should have went for the Xbox version, but this is still fun, even though the PS2. But I prefer the Xbox. But this is nice, still a good game. The Mark of Cree for the PlayStation 2. This is a game I remember seeing like advertisement for it, and it looked really cool, and I saw it on the back of manuals on the games I got. I bought this game based on how amazing they said the game was, and you know what? This game, I actually really don't like it that much. Like, the visuals aren't bad. It's like, I think of it as a R-rated Pixar movie, and the combat and the stealth, it's good, but I don't know how to say it, but the game I found this game to be really frustrating. I think it's because it's old, like it's dated and it's aged. And that's a shame, because like the idea of the combat isn't bad, but I just found it to be really frustrating. It's like if you put the sword into an enemy, he actually has to put his leg on it to pull it out. I think it's supposed to be realistic and brutal, but it's annoying. And if you were to attack next to a wall, you'll keep hitting the wall, or your blade will get stuck in the wood. I know it's trying to be realistic and all that, but that is so frustrating. Like, that's what makes me not want to play this game. But there's so much good here, but it's annoying. So, yeah. That's probably why I won't buy the sequel. Twisted Metal Black. Now, I got this game at Walmart recently for $5 and pre-owned, and the condition of the game is pretty awesome. And now I heard a lot of good things about Twisted Metal, but this game is... I'm not really a big fan of car combat games, and when you look at this, it doesn't really look like a car combat game. I think it's kind of strange that it is, because you got like a clown and Sweet Tooth, and it's all about destroying cars and all that. And it's got online play. It's not my kind of game. It's a fun little distraction, but it's not really for me. I'm not a big car combat game, so that's probably a fan. Which probably explains why I'm not into it. It's okay. And considering the fact that I don't use online on my PS2 is probably why I don't play it as much, but yeah, as it stands, it's not for me. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Considered to be the best PlayStation 2 game of all time. Do I agree with that? I have to say, yeah. Like, this game has the customization options, the big open area that the other games don't really have anymore. But as you can see, this is the special edition, which I got used along with Grand Theft Auto 3, which includes the introduction and the movie Sunday Driver, on a bonus disc. And as you can see, it comes in a sleeve, and it's pretty beat up because it's used. This is the game, disc and everything, map and the manual, and this is the DVD case, Sunday Driver. And then you lift that up, and then there's the DVD, which has both the introduction and the movie. The game is like, I don't know, I don't have much to say that hasn't been already said before, but it's by and large an amazing open world action game that, if you haven't played it, what rock are you living under, man? Like, get it on the Xbox, get it on the PS2, but if you get it on the PS2, you get this collector's edition, and if you can find it for like an affordable price, I'd say go for it. Especially if you're a fan of it. Even if you already own the PlayStation 2 version, get this special edition. But the game is pretty much the same thing. But as it is, not much to say, but amazing. Buy it. That's my keys. Now, Grand Theft Auto 3. Okay, now when it comes to old Grand Theft Auto games, they're fun. I'm not going to deny that they're fun, but these games have aged. Like, the storyline's not bad, the gameplay is fun, but it's aged because, like, there's this racing mission, because I'm not the only one who feels this way, but I found it to be really frustrating because the car gets busted up so easily, and some of the aiming's a bit of an issue, but with that said, it's still fun. Not much to say about it, but yeah, pretty good, but it just aged. Right, I'm back. Just had to... Alright, the phone was ringing. As I was saying, Manhunt is it's a stealth horror kind of game in which you play as a convicted serial killer, James Earl Cash, and now he is put on death row, but then he was he was scheduled to die of lethal injection, but he was given a hefty dose of sleeping drug, and now he is under the control of, I remember, Lionel Starkweather, a snuff film director, in which he takes you to various areas for you to kill these bad people, these gangs, in the brutalest fashions imaginable. Like, this game is violent. It's as bloody and gory as they say it is. It's also pretty scary, and some characters jump at you, and as you can see, it's very dark, and there are some dark humor put here and there. And it's if you like stealth action games and you like horror games, you might like this, and I like it too. But I don't really play this much because the game is also really hard, especially with the gun shooting. It's not bad. If you want to get it, go for it, I'd say. And I look forward to the day they make my Manhunt 3, but until then we got Manhunt 2. Now I know this game is really mixed. Some people like it, some people don't, but I'm one of the people that likes it. Like, I think the controversy came in, like, it's like people say this is the most violent game ever made, which I have to kind of disagree with. It is violent, it is bloody and gory, but the killing scenes actually got some controversy, which is why they've been filtered, and people complain about that, but if it wasn't filtered, the game wouldn't be released, so I think we should be kind of glad that it's finally released. You play as Daniel Lamb, who is in a mental hospital, who escapes and starts finding out about the project that he's a part of, and trying to put the mystery together about himself, about Leo Casper, who seems to follow him everywhere. It's definitely a game that kids should not be playing. And, like, the killing scenes are brutal, even though it's filtered, but you can still tell what's going on. It's if you like stealth action games and you like the first one, I say play it. You might like it, you might not, but hey. Now, we're about to go into a classic. SmackDown, just bring it. Say what you will about wrestling, but I'm a big wrestling fan. And this is one of the first WWE wrestling games that came out on the PlayStation 2. There was like some WWE SmackDown, WWF SmackDown Know Your Role, and then there's this game. And this game definitely has aged, but the cutscene that starts off in the opening reminds me of the Tekken and Soul Calibur games, which that's pretty good. But the in-game visuals look nothing like the cutscene. Like, as you can see, just look at that. It's not bad looking by any means, but It's kind of like false advertising. But the wrestling inside of it, it's not bad. But the issue that I have with it, it takes a while to beat somebody up and then do a finisher on them, because that's what I like to do instead. Excuse me, instead of pinning them. But overall, this is still a good wrestler. Like if you're the real hardcore, you'll buy it. But I'd say if you're not, this game isn't really. You should be in no hurry to get it. But with that said, it's definitely a classic. Because some of the extras they have it is pretty good. Like they have the advertisement for the older wrestling games, like WWF, SmackDown, and SmackDown Know Your Role. And they even got like behind the scenes footage of it. That's awesome. And you got The Rock doing the opening one. That's pretty funny, to be honest with you. The Rock knows what you're cooking. The Rock has finally come back to PlayStation. Good times. Now, the sequel, SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth. Now, with all the issues that I had with the first one, this game pretty much fixed all those problems, and I know a lot of people say this is one of the best wrestling games ever, and I have to agree with that, but it's still not quite there yet. You can see the visuals it has a much improved than the first one. The wrestling, I think, is way better. The issue that I have with it is not the wrestling or the visuals, or the career mode, which I hear which was pretty good, but I don't really play the career mode much. I'm more into the wrestling just by itself. But what I don't like is that the ending animation is the same for every character. Like the opening is fine, but the ending isn't. But this is definitely an improvement, and it is a pretty good wrestler. So, yeah, nice. Now we get into the wrestling game that everybody says is one of the best, and it's ranked right up there with no mercy. SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, with Brock Lesnar on the case. Because Brock Lesnar is awesome, and anybody who doesn't think he's awesome doesn't know what they're talking about. Well, I like Brock Lesnar, but like this guy broke the record for youngest person to win the WWE Championship. He dominated the world of wrestling. He dominated the world of mixed martial arts and UFC. And now he's back to wrestling nowadays, and he beat John Cena. Yeah. But how is this game? Is it as good as they say it is? I remember playing this a lot because when I was in South Korea, again, my cousins had this game, and I played this game a lot. And and even though it was hard for me to get into it because at the same time the controls were a bit complicated. And I was only 10 years old, but now that I'm older and I know what SmackDown games control is, the controls are pretty much perfect. And this game had like lot of new additions added to it. Like I think the addition of blood and steel and like blood. I don't really know, but as far as I've seen, this game has mostly everything you could ever ask for in a wrestling game. Like you got bra and panties, you got the cage match, you got some legends, pretty good legends like Steve Austin, Sergeant Slaughter. I think I don't know if Hulk Hogan's in this game, but I haven't played it in a while. But I don't know. Like the visuals are pretty good. The wrestling is fine. The only issue is that there's no commentary, and it's getting really close to being the wrestling game for me. Really close, but still not quite there yet. But with that said, it's the best wrestling game on PS2. That's all I have to say. Now we get into SmackDown vs. Raw. The original, 2006 and 2007. Yes. Now, let me move these up. Okay, let's start with the first one. Now this is the first SmackDown game I played on my PS2. I don't really know what to say about it. Like, it's kind of like SmackDown versus SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, but the wrestling here is like, it's much better than SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, in my opinion. I think it controls and the mechanics for everything have been perfectly tuned here. But I know this game had a lot of hype back in the day, which in the game itself, even if I played this game back then, this game is a big disappointment. Like, it opens up with like this recap of all the older games, but when you actually play it, the game is like took lots of steps back. But the wrestling is fun and all, but again, it's still not there at all. Like, not even close to Here Comes the Pain. Like, why couldn't they just keep the options and the good stuff from Here Comes the Pain and just roll with it and make it better? Instead, they made it worse. But the wrestling is still fun, though. But with that said, it's still a fun wrestler, but they missed the mark here. Then there's 2006. Like, the reason why it's like this, because I don't know why it's like this, but I'm guessing my version came like that. Because even though 2007 looked like this, look at the disc. That's a greatest hits disc. So, yeah. But anyway, SmackDown versus Raw 2006 with Randy Orton. Oh no, I mean my bad. I mean Batista and John Cena on the case. People say this is the best wrestling game ever with all the options and everything. But I'm actually saying this isn't. It's not a bad wrestling game by any means, but it's not the wrestling game. Like it's not even close to Here Comes the Pain at all. It's something completely different. The visuals are pretty awesome, to be honest with you. The wrestling itself can be fun, but I found it nowhere near as fun as the older games. The career mode didn't really do it for me. The wrestling and the sound effects just wasn't as satisfying, but still fun nonetheless. Like this game's in its own completely different territory. But unfortunately, this is just missed the mark again. Again, it's trying to be amazing, but it's not there. And I know this is one of the best-selling wrestling games, but it's not for me. But I still like it regardless. So it's alright. Then there's 2007, which I found to be a little bit more fun than 2006 because of the new control system, because finally something's new. The visuals are about the same, but I think compared to the 360 version, the PlayStation 2 version, like when you see the audience, like in 2006, the audience is complete, but in 2007 the audience is like you see a chunk of it, then it goes black for the rest. It ruins the immersion, in my opinion. But the visuals are still nice. Like they're able to pack so much good visuals with less space, which is 537 in 2006 has over 1 gigabyte, and the wrestling is still fun. And I'm thinking this is 360 footage, but the PlayStation 2 version is still pretty good. So yeah, it's a bit better than 2006, but still not quite there yet. In 2008 and even 2012, it's still missing the mark. So I guess we'll never truly have that one PlayStation 2 wrestler that will be the best in my opinion. But that's just me. If you like these games, that's fine. And I still like them, even though I don't think they're all that great, but I still like it. So yeah, those are the wrestling games. Not quite there yet, but not bad. Now, last chunk. X-Men Legends. I love these games. I love Raven Software's games. X-Men Legends 2, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance. These games are some of the best I ever played. This is one of the first. I came across this game through SCXCR. I think that's his name, but he did let's play of this game, and that got me interested, so I bought it. And wow, this game is addictive. It is like an action RPG. It's really addictive, really simple to control. The storyline is really interesting. The voice acting is a bit cheesy, but it has its charm to it. The storyline is great. The immersion is awesome. This is the game that got me really into X-Men. It's one of my favorite games ever. It's on PS2, GameCube, Xbox. If you haven't played it and you like X-Men, and if you never played X-Men but you want to play a fun little RPG, and this game might get you into X-Men, I'd say buy it. Just buy it. Now, the sequel. X-Men Legends 2, Rise of Apocalypse. This game is kind of like the SmackDown games, but I found this game to be just as fun as the original. Like, you got a lot of new characters to play as, but some of the characters that were in the older game was, like, they were completely taken out, which I don't understand. Like, the character of Alison Cressmere, also known as Magma, she was the main character in the old game, but here she is nowhere to be found. Like, Iceman, Bobby Drake, she had a thing for her. In this game, they don't even bring her back. Like, they mention her in the strategy guide, which I have. But I don't get why they did that. And then they had like some of the characters from the original. They're not even playable. And then they do bring in new characters. You can't play as them. Like Angel. He wasn't in the old game and you can't play as him. And then you can't play as Blob. You can't play as Sabretooth. You can't play as Pyro. You can't play as Mystique. You can play as some of them in the PC version or the PSP version, but not on the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. That's a disappointment, but overall, it's still a fun, really addicting and fun game to play. Like, it's just as good as the original, even though there are some changes, but it's like a lot of steps forward, but a few steps back. I really wish they made an X-Men Legends 3. That could have been the game, but, so that's what I'll have to do. And then, there's Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I got the special edition, which includes the bonus DVD. Check that out. Special DVD, which I think is awesome, and then there's the game. This is one of my favorite games ever. Like, if I had any problems with X-Men Legends, this game pretty much fixed it with the large amounts of characters, even though I really wish they brought, like, Moon Knight and Colossus in here. But they got all the heavy hitters like Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Blade, the Fantastic Four, and some other characters like Spider-Woman, Elektra, Thor, Doctor Marvel, I think that's his name. Like, the game is much simpler than the original, but still very fun to play as. There's less powers. It's the superhero game, in my opinion. Oh, and of course, you got Spider-Man there. Overall, this is an awesome game. One of my favorite games ever. And even though I have the PlayStation 2 version, I want to buy the 360 version in the 2-pack. So, yeah, awesome game. Love comic books, love RPGs. Play it. Ooh, another wrestling game. Backyard Wrestling. Don't try this at home. I also have the second game, but I didn't really like that as much. This game is... It takes some time to get used to if you're used to games like Def Jam and... Excuse me. Or the WWE games, but... This game is actually kind of worse than the others. Like, visually, it's not a terrible looking game, but they're really simple looking. And when you beat people up, they get more and more bloody, so I guess that's kind of cool. And again, they're using Xbox footage, no PlayStation 2 footage, trying to make their game look better than it actually is. But you got these comments like, Jackass meets a square circle in America's backyard, which I have to agree with that. From rooftops to escalators nothing is off limits, which I kind of agree with. And 4 stars. Oh, that's a very bold statement, but I kind of agree with that. Like, the wrestling, even though it's very simple and it's fun. Like, you get the slams, and that's kind of fun. And you get to use weapons, you get to jump on areas, slam people. If you like that sort of thing, if you like wrestling, this is the game you should play. But again, it does get old, you could say, but I had fun with it. Yeah, too bad the sequel just wasn't as good. Or maybe they might make a third one, but seeing that it's been this long, they haven't touched the backyard wrestling games again. No. But it's not a bad game in my opinion. Lego Batman. Now, I got this game when I first got my PS2. And this one game, I actually like this more than Lego Indiana Jones, because I think the combat, and I was more a fan of Batman, and I like Indiana Jones, but Batman's more my thing. Like, the visuals are pretty much what you expect of a Lego game, just pretty good. You got all the heavy hitter Batman characters like the Riddler, Two-Face, Joker, Harley Quinn, Penguin, Catwoman, Commissioner Gordon, Batman and Robin. Overall, and also Ivy, I forgot to mention her, but there's tons more like Mr. Freeze and the Scarecrow. If you like Lego games, you'll like this game. I look forward to playing Lego Batman. Lego Batman 2. Ed, Edd n Eddy, The Misadventures. I remember when this game first came out, I really wanted to get it, but I never did. I wanted to buy it for the GameCube. But I got it for PS2 now, and is the game good? I think I probably would have enjoyed it more when I was younger, but now that I'm older, the gameplay just isn't that enjoyable. But with that said, if you're really into Ed, Edd n Eddy, you should give it a try at least once. Like, the visuals capture the style of the show, and the gameplay kind of resembles what the show is about, but it's just not that much fun to play, and in fact, it's really annoying. Like, I can remember I was so close to beating this game, and I was in the Tower of Eddie so I can walk across, like, this platform. Then all of a sudden I got stuck in the area, and no matter what I did, I could never get out of it. So I was so close to beating it, and I haven't played it since, but it brings back a lot of fond memories. Ed, and Eddy forever, dude. The Simpsons, Hit and Run. This game, I remember wanting to get this for the GameCube, but instead I bought Spyro A Hero's Tale. I regret that, but I got this game for PS2 when I first got it, and overall, it's a pretty good game, to be honest with you. The only other game I played was the Simpsons game, and that game was okay, but this game is one of the best. Like, you get to explore Springfield, and you get to have a car, various cars. You get to play as all the major Simpsons characters, like Homer, Bart, Lisa, and Marge, and also Apu. And there's a lot of collection, a lot of driving, some platforming, even though the camera's not always the best. But overall, it's a good game. I'd say if you like Simpsons, and if you never played Simpsons but you want a good game, buy it. It's on PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. Ooh, a classic. Jackass the game. I am a huge Jackass fan. I just love those guys. They just put a smile on my face. Like, not only them hurting themselves and doing stupid stuff, but it just takes me out of the stress of everyday life and just have a ball, you know? That's what I like about Jackass. And for this game, I know that I heard that the PSP version is better, but I went with the PlayStation 2 version because of the multiplayer aspects. like a lot of the gameplay is it's amusing. You probably play it once, you'll never play it again. But with that said, it's amusing for what it is. And I like that the game has the warning. The stunts performed in this game were performed by professionals, so neither you nor your dumb little buddy should attempt anything from this game. Ha! I laugh at that. And yeah, Jackass the game. Not the best, but definitely worth it if you're a fan of the Jackass series. Yeah. Now, Family Guy video game. Now I remember seeing like footage and reviews for this game online. And overall, it looked interesting. Like the platform you get to, like the gameplay's like you play as Stewie, Peter, and Brian. Stewie is like a platformer shooter. Peter is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and Brian is a stealth game. The Chris, Lois, and Meg are more like side characters, like you get to interact with. They don't really play much of a role here. And the game has pretty much everything you expect from a Family Guy game, like from the humor, the voice acting and script, the the mini games, which are the cutaway gags, which is amusing. And overall, it's grab your joystick and get ready to unleash your inner Peter. Yeah, the game is pretty frustrating though. Like for Peter sections, in order to beat people up, you can only punch adults and you can only kick kids, and I don't understand that. But that's the only way to fight. And then there's Stewie sections, which aren't that frustrating, but when you're sliding and on the platforms, it's a pain in the butt because like there's some things you need to get, but trying to control Stewie isn't the easiest. And then there's Brian, and his stealth moments can be amusing, but the issue with Brian's is that they're really hard because overall they're frustrating, especially when you're going through the TV station, when you're trying to go through Jolly Farms Review. You gotta think completely out of the conventional. You gotta be unconventional when you play this game, but overall, not a bad game. I am planning on getting the new one, but I like it. It's hard, but I like it. And now, finally, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I actually really, I prefer Return of the King over this one. Like, I love Lord of the Rings, like, I'm a big fan of that too, but this game here, the game looks awesome, but when you actually play it, like, the visuals are pretty good, to be honest with you. And the gameplay could be fun, but I found this really frustrating. Like, whenever you attack, like, the attack animations are so slow, and so are your enemies. Like, both you and the enemy could attack at the same time and keep slashing swords at each other. You're not attacking anybody. It's really frustrating. The extras in the game are great, but this game I just found it to be really frustrating to play. I prefer Return of the King, because that game was much, much easier to get a hold of. Like, when it comes to the combat and everything, but it's still a classic. Not the best, not the greatest, but it's not bad. So yeah, those are all the games all piled up there. Hope none of them fall down. So yeah, that was my PlayStation 2 collection. It used to be a bit bigger, but I got rid of some games I didn't like. But yeah, that's my PlayStation 2 collection, and that's it.